Underneath the user prefs, we have the default state. Default state determines what state is considered active when the game starts. Keep in mind that setting the default state will not trigger any of the events. There are 10 events. State 1 activated happens anytime State 1 becomes active. State 2 activated happens anytime State 2 becomes active. State 3 activated happens anytime State 3 becomes active. State 4 activated happens anytime State 4 becomes active. And State 5 activated happens anytime State 5 becomes active. Next we have the query result events. Query returned 1 happens anytime the state machine is queried while State 1 is active. Query returned 2 happens anytime the state machine is queried while State 2 is active. Query returned 3 happens anytime the state machine is queried while State 3 is active. Query returned 4 happens anytime the state machine is queried while State 4 is active. And query returned 5 happens anytime the state machine is queried while State 5 is active. How about a demonstration? Let's suppose that we have a paintball battle arena, and each time we step into the arena, we get a random layout of obstacles. The state machine is an easy way to accomplish this. I already have 3 different obstacle layouts in my scene. All I did was create some primitive shapes and group them under 3 empty game objects. Each empty game object represents a different layout. I also used primitive shapes to create the arena itself. We need a way to show and hide each layout, so let's use the Object Concealer for that. You can find the Object Concealer in the Utilities folder. Once I've located it, I'll drag one into my scene. With the Object Concealer selected, I'll drag Layout 01 to the Object 1 field. Then I'll drag Layout 02 to the Object 2 field. And finally, I'll drag Layout 03 to the Object 3 field. Now we can show and hide our layouts by using the Object Concealer. We're now ready to set up the state machine. I already have one in my scene, so I'll select it and expand the State 1 activated event, the State 2 activated event, the State 3 activated event, and the State 4 activated event. State 4 will represent our arena with no obstacles. So let's drag the Object Concealer to the State 4 activated event and tell it to conceal all. Now, anytime State 4 is activated, all layouts will be hidden. Since we'll be starting the game with an empty field, let's set the default state to State 4. This won't trigger State 4, but it will make the state machine think it's in State 4. Let's set up State 1. Let's drag the Object Concealer to the State 1 activated event and tell it to reveal an object. Let's set the object number to 1. Since we previously dragged Layout 01 to the Object 1 field, Layout 01 will be shown anytime State 1 is activated. Let's set up State 2. Let's drag the Object Concealer to the State 2 activated event and tell it to reveal an object. Let's then set the object number to 2. Next, let's drag the Object Concealer to the State 3 activated event and tell it to reveal an object. This time, set the object number to 3. Now that our state machine is set up, we can use it to display or hide any layout we want. If we set it to State 1, then our arena will show Layout 01. If we set it to State 2, then the arena will show Layout 02. If we set it to State 3, the arena will show Layout 03. And if we set it to State 4, the field will be empty. Since we want to use a random layout, let's add a randomizer to our game. You can find the randomizer in the Utilities folder. Once I find it, I'll drag one into my scene. Since we have 3 different obstacle layouts, let's set the max range to 3. With the max range set to 3, the randomizer will always pick a number between 1 and 3. To ensure that we always get a different layout, let's leave the Allow Duplicates option unchecked. Next, I'm going to expand the Random 1 event, the Random 2 event, and the Random 3 event. If the number 1 is chosen, let's have it use layout 01. I'll drag the state machine to the Random 1 event and tell it to activate state 1. I'll drag the state machine to the Random 2 event and tell it to activate state 2. Then I'll drag the state machine to the Random 3 event and tell it to activate state 3. We have one more thing we need to do. We need a way to trigger when to set up the battlefield and when to reset it. Let's use a detection area for that. You can find the detection area in the Utilities folder near the top of the list. Once I've located it, I'll drag one into my scene. In order to see what I'm adjusting, I need to make sure the box collider component is expanded. I also want to make sure the manipulator handle is at the pivot point and not the center. I'll scale the detection area so that it fits the entire battlefield. Once I have it adjusted to my liking, I'll expand the Player Entered event and the Player Exited event. I'll drag the randomizer to the Player Entered event and tell it to randomize. In other words, to pick a random number. Next, I'll drag the state machine to the Player Exited event and tell it to activate state 4. Now, when we enter the detection area, a random number will be picked, which will cause one of the obstacle layouts to be revealed. When we exit the detection area, it will cause all the obstacles to be hidden. Let's test it out.